So you're talking about like full-on appropriation. That's what you
That's
think
what
Gucci
I'm
Mane
trying
is
to get
endorsing
at.
here.
I'm trying to. I think the infiltration from a YouTuber, whatever, going into whatever, it opens the floodgates. I'm telling you what's gonna happen, big dog. So what do you guys think about YouTuber Jake Paul doing songs with Gucci Mane, hanging out with 21 Savage? You think it's bad for the culture?
No, I don't think it hurts anything particularly. I think that these types of things have been happening for a long time, for decades. These types of like not exactly sure where you fit into this space. Somebody co-signs you and then you blow up. It's been happening and it's never gonna stop happening. And I don't think it's particularly hurt us or the culture, so to speak.
You know, you look at like Gucci's, I guess, legacy over the past, decade or so. I mean, he's attached himself to everybody. So in Gucci's case, if he sees something in this kid, obviously there's something to him that is resonating with either Gucci's fans or maybe it's Gucci, you know, trying to reach more into this, you know, internet. You know, it's probably a beneficial type of situation. It's a both party. I don't think it's bad for the culture. I think it's just business.
Right.
Do you think Gucci Mane is a sellout?
For doing this?
For doing this with Jake Paul.
I don't even know what a sellout is anymore.
Well, I feel like the word sellout has kind of been, it has like this negative connotation to it, and it really shouldn't, because I'm gonna just assume here that we all grew up in the hood, right? I grew up in the hood, I live in the valley. So I sold out for the better, but I'm still connected to the culture or connected to my roots.
Right.
So it's one of those where you have to sell out to still push the culture forward. Jay-Z sold out. Kanye sold out.
That's not a
but they're still pushing the culture. They're still pushing the culture.
I think the idea.
You don't think they sold out?
I think
what happened to Chipmunk Music?
I think I know where you're going with
I think the idea of selling out, really, especially in this context, comes from the idea of where hip hop once was as the underdog. It was we weren't the cool kids at the high school table. We was hanging out with the other people at the table. Now we are the cool kids. We are the top of the high school food chain. So when you have that, you can look at how people call MC Hammer a sellout for having to deal with Pepsi's, having the video games, having the cartoons, all of this. And now you look at somebody like 50 Cent. The reality is that brands want us.
Right.
Brands want us more than ever.
And nowadays you don't have to compromise.
And you don't.
I think that that's what people classify as a sellout. Somebody who compromises who they are. Somebody who steers way left of the things that they supposedly stood for the bag. And I think that Gucci Mane has never stood against, you know, just getting money. He comes from the space of hip hop that old hip hop heads used to be. They used to feel that the South and Atlanta was the sellout part of hip hop, where you just out here getting money, you don't care about lyrics or anything. That's how the hip hop felt about them. And Gucci Mane comes from that space. And so he's not I don't think that he's selling out because he's never been above doing what he's got to do to get cheddar. Man, like he said, made $3 million in jail. Do what you got to do.
Of course, but he is selling out in the sense, and again, I'm not using selling out with it having a negative connotation to it, or negatively. I'm just saying that he did sell out in the sense that he did do something from left field with his brand that his fans wouldn't normally, you know, even see coming.
I suppose that's why I disagree,
but even the idea of that, like, was Gucci a sellout when he was in Spring Breakers?
Right.
You know, which... Was he a sellout when he was working with Marilyn Manson?
Right, because he's still himself.
Yeah, he was.
Still himself.
And again,
hey, that Marilyn Manson joint is banging.
It's really good. But again, I'm not using sellout negatively.
I think
yes,
that
he did sell out when he worked with Marilyn Manson.
I think that's what you like. I don't think you can use sell out without it,
yes,
because it's like you're literally selling out. You're
word.
getting rid of you. That's all you got. You know what I'm saying? That's the end. That's it. That's done. You ain't got nothing left. You have sold out. So I think that maybe you just like, he's growing. He's adding to his brand. He's doing what he's got to do.
No, because earlier you defined selling out as doing something from compromising your brand.
I don't think
something
he's
from left field. And yes, he is selling out, and it's not negatively.
I do not think he's compromised.
Whether you like it or not.
I just think it has to be a conscious decision. You see what I'm saying? Like there has to be some integrity, even if you feel like the money or whatever, because it's Gucci Mane. But it's like it should still be held to the. I feel like everybody in this culture should be held to the same standard. That's just me. Only because it's like right now, Jake Paul it's maybe one of the more innocent YouTubers for all we know, right? But if I had somebody that generally does not like but participants that look like us in the culture, right? But they know that, you know, to get the bag, get a more, you know, lucrative bag, is to cross over to the culture that is now the #1 thing, right?
So you're talking about like full-on appropriation. That's
what I'm trying to get at. Here. I think the infiltration from a YouTuber, whatever, going into whatever, it opens the floodgates. I'm telling you what's gonna happen, big dog.
And we either allow it or we don't. I don't believe in this whole it's gonna happen. I got the power. I got the juice.
We have the power over them. I don't think we have the power over them.
We don't even know if, for all we know, Gucci could be a legitimate fan of Old Boy.
Straight up.
What, you gonna send a tweet when this happens?
He could be a fan.
You gonna send a?
We don't know. We don't know.
Send a complaint?
We don't know
when what happens, Justin.
When I'm saying like when.
Like when he becomes successful and appropriates us, the same way Miley Cyrus did, the same way a gang of people did. Well, so what? They did it. Now we all look at them like a joke, and we gonna look at him like a joke. It ain't nothing.
And they don't fit it's only a joke.
We are hip hop. We are the consumers. We are the culture. He needs us. And so if a portion of the hip hop community, if the portion of the hip hop fans, which is vastly the world nowadays, if they embrace him and they bring him in, let them, because eventually he gonna wash away.
And meanwhile, while people embracing this, there are going to be a plethora of other artists, other people that you can fuck with.
Right.
And that you can pretend like this motherfucker don't even
What
know.
if it's a changing of the guard in a sense where we are talking about generational talent and they all seem to come from the 09 era? You saw what I'm saying? The 09, so like there's like, we had a wave. There's like usually a wave, right?
Right.
And there's usually the wave that happens where it's like the people that change the culture for the better are heavily outnumbered, right? And we're talking about right now.
They've always been, Justin.
But I know, I understand that, right? But to the point where the industry is changing to cater to the YouTube joint, whatever, where it's like, if they have the power, the purchasing power, that's very important to A&Rs. Bro, Danielle Bergoli did like 24 million in 3 days.
And that's
that's alarming.
That's alarming. But who are you alarmed by? The industry or the 24 million
that actually sat there and watched that?
So you're just gonna take away their own credibility to make their own decisions? The kids want that music, let them have that music. Because when Rappers Delight came out, everybody hated it, but the people wanted the music. And without that record, hip hop wouldn't exist. Hip hop wouldn't be in the mainstream limelight.
Wait, you're complaining, Daniel, with
No, I'm re-evaluating the fact that I'm coming back to the fact that if that's what the people want, let the people have it. We have a power, the same power that you're scared of in terms of the modern market, in terms of the internet having so much power, that also means we have the juice. And so if they want to consume that, we don't have to anymore.
Right.
It's not the radio days where everybody got to listen to the same thing. Where you talk about being outnumbers, there's always been 1 to 5 phenomenal lifelong lifetime artists and 100 whack artists. Always. There was always D4L, there was always Shop Boys, there was always people who were making records like what? And in that same time, it was Jay-Z, it was Kanye West, it was Lupe Fiasco.
You had all these other artists.
And they lasted forever. We're still talking about them. Ain't nobody talking about Party Like a Rock Star. Nobody is talking about that, but people are talking about College Dropout all at the same time.
But you said we got the juice. You ever heard that conversation where it's like the juice it comes and goes? We're the juice in the situation going forward.
Well, I think that I'm just going to give you a little more confidence in knowing that with what you're saying being true in a time that is going away now about who's got the juice when, is that the same thing that's allowing someone like Jake Paul to get his leverage and Danielle Bergoli to get their leverage is the same thing is going to keep us with the juice forever. The same way their fans will have the juice too.
I agree, but listen, I'm going to lose my shit if I'm taking a morning jog and I see someone bumping Jake Paul because you see what I'm saying? Like
turn your music up louder then.
There, say it, brother. Say it, man. Be you. And so here's the thing. Here's the thing, man. Is like hip hop has become the biggest quote unquote culture in the world. It is, the whole world has become the hip hop culture, because if you look at everything, nearly every culture is influenced by us.
Right. And let's say hypothetically you want to take like a traditionalist look on what hip hop culture is. You know, most of the time people talk about hip hop culture, they don't forget about the other elements anyway.
Right.
So is it just the music that we just look to as a culture, or is it the wide spectrum of how we view culture, whether it's hip hop or whatever?
I think we need to realize that with 2.7 billion people in the world, it's room for everything, man. Let that kid live. Let him get his little cosign, and we'll be straight. And people like Kendrick will still have the #1 album. They will outlast. You know what I'm saying? Like the Chance the Rappers, the Kendrick Lamar's, Jay-Z's, Masegos, and Sirs the Future, the Anderson .Paaks. They will outlast everyone else.
No, and this is very true. So these guys will last. But so now I'm thinking, like, if we're opening it up to like a new generation of rappers, right? Like the new school, after like the Jays, after the Kanyes, after like the guys that have really been resilient with everything that's happened, right? The 24 million that follow Danielle, that have bought her album, they're not necessarily fans. Not all of them are fans of her music.
Exactly.
They're fans of her popularity
Absolutely.
and her brand.
They could just like that song.
Right, or they could just
'Cause
like
High
that
Bitch
song.
is a kind of a
right, but I'm
banger.
opening up.
White
But
horse.
I'm just saying, like,
High
they're not
Bitch.
necessarily all fans of their music.
Yeah.
They're just the fans of the movement.
Absolutely.
Right. So in a sense, like, I can see something like this just slightly hurting the newer age of hip hop, because it's not going to be necessarily about the quality that you bring, but more so the cosign and the popularity that comes with it.
Yeah.
True, but I think even with that, okay, you have that over there, but you're always gonna have quality artists. Like,
and I think that there were like
always
when back in '09 when Kendrick and everybody was coming out, there were also a gang of whack artists coming out, and there was a lot of people who said it's gonna hurt us. And it did.
and
Maybe
look
it did, but we good now.
Lord Jamar, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Oh man, Ebro, I feel
Oh
you.
wow. Okay.
I
I'm
see
actually.
it.
You sound like the old man. Here,
I do.
Not me. Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
I understand now. I'm of the opinion that this will hurt the culture in some way, but time will tell.
Yeah.
And if I'm wrong, I'm happy that I'm wrong, because I do value quality music.
Absolutely. And I think that sure it may hurt, but it'll hurt in the same way like a scab on the knee hurts. You know what I'm saying? It ain't gonna kill us. We'll be straight.
I agree.
I think what honestly hurts the culture is when we focus so much on hating these artists when we can be spending our time lifting up the artists that actually matter. Let them people like what they like. Fuck it. I ain't gotta fuck with that. You know, whatever they doing, they can do. I'ma listen to what I like. I'ma tell people what I like. You know what I mean? I'm going to make sure that I tell my friends, my family, the homies, whatever, y'all, what I like, and I'm going to just do what I got to do. You feel me? And that's all that matters.
That's essentially what their fans are doing too. So let's just love who we got to love and watch them rise, because they're going to. So with us, as the powers that be, and their quality of music, they're going to come out on top the same way all the other greats did.
So if you're listening to music while you're running and you hear somebody blasting this loud music,
Turn
just
the
turn the music up.
Yeah, turn that shit up.